So welcome today to our Analytics and Insights. My name is Karen Wallace. I'm a coach at Tourism Tribe and Navi Digital. Today we're going to take a look at Google Search Console. Today, I thought it would be useful to have a look at other Google products that link to Google Analytics. There are masses of Google products out there, but these are the popular ones that you've probably already heard of, and hopefully some of you are using. So we're looking today specifically at Google Search Console. Google Analytics also integrates with Google My Business. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Google My Business. This is where Google Maps operates. It's where people leave reviews for you. It's a really important part of your search strategy to have a well-optimized Google My Business platform. And then Google Analytics also links to Google Ads. So if you've done any advertising with Google, you'll be aware of that. So it's important that these products all sync. So when you set them up, if you haven't done so already, make sure that they run from the one Google account. So what that means is the one email address and password that you've used to set up whatever the original product was, probably Google My Business or Google Analytics. So just make sure that they're all under the one account, and then that helps with the syncing. So Google Search Console, I see it as it's a sister tool to Google Analytics. They sync they sync very well, and their data is complementary. And as the name suggests, Google Search Console helps you improve your search results, not just by having your website connected to Google Search Console. Does that happen? But what it allows you to do is to glean a lot of really useful information on how you're doing in the search results in Google. So this is especially useful if you're doing any form of SEO work on your website. And if you're not, I highly recommend that you do so. And I have another course running on SEO, so you might like to take a look at that again in the Navi Digital or Tourism Tribe YouTube channel, to really get an understanding of the basics of SEO. And then you can use what you learned today in your SEO practice, because that's what it's all about, the Google Search Console. So it'll help you measure your site's search traffic. So how much traffic is coming to Google, what keywords is driving traffic to your website, and indeed the performance of your website. So where is it appearing in Google? Is it on the first page? Is it right back at the fifth where no one is going to look at it? And just to point out that sometimes there is a data difference between Google Search Console and Google Analytics. They measure their data very differently, very different techniques. But with Google Search Console, it doesn't measure every single bit of data. There might be a little time lag with Google Search Console, but what it does do is gives you a fantastic picture of the majority of data. So it's still a valuable resource. You just might see a little discrepancy there. For example, Google Search Console measures clicks. The equivalent in Google Analytics is to measure sessions, and sometimes you might see that one has more than the other, but don't worry about that. It's still, it's a small difference there. Okay, so I'll go through I know a lot of you feel a bit overwhelmed with the Google jargon, the terminology that they use for for what they're measuring, their data points. So I talked about impressions before. So an impression is when your website appears in Google. Doesn't necessarily mean it has been clicked on. It just means that someone has either typed in your brand name or a keyword, and it has appeared in Google. So that is an impression. Clicks is obvious. It's when someone clicks on your website. And then we've got this click-through rate. It's called a CTR. So a click-through rate is it's the number of clicks divided by impressions multiplied by 100. So if you have a page in Google that shows up in 20 searches and generates 10 clicks, your click-through rate would be 50%. Now, if you've got a 50% click-through rate, I congratulate you, because that's a high achievement. The higher the click-through rate, the better. So that's what we're aiming for. So Google Search Console is giving us this rich information for us to use in our search engine optimization strategies. So getting our website to appear in Google search. We can look at things like our highest traffic pages. You might want to do that if you've got a high traffic page. You might, let's say you're running a promotion on your website. Why not put that promotion on those high traffic pages that you've identified through Google Search Console? So the pages that have the most clicks and also the highest click-through rate. You could also link other internal pages on your website to these high traffic pages. They can piggyback on the success of these pages, and that will in turn help their position in Google as well. When you're investing in SEO, you can use Google Search Console to monitor things like your click-through rate and impressions over time. So it allows you to compare one period to another. And again, with your search position of your website, and then it allows you to look at your average position of a single page, which is more useful than your entire website. You can keep an eye on ranking increases and decreases. So if you're seeing a page that you've optimized for search and it's starting to decrease, you might want to go in and take a look at what's wrong. It might need a bit of enhancement. There might be a technical issue responsible for that. So Google Search Console is a way you can monitor this information. You can also identify your highest and your lowest traffic queries. Now, a query is simply equals, it's Google speak for a keyword, or Google Search Console speak. So your queries are your keywords. So again, that's really useful as well. You could identify new keywords that you mightn't think relate to your business. So it's a great discovery tool there. Now, to get set up, log into Google Search Console. You can use this URL up here, or you can simply just search for Google Search Console in Google, and ideally in Google Chrome. And then log in with your username and password that you use for Google Analytics or Google My Business. They all should be the same login. Now, if you're working with a web developer, we're presented with this screen, and this is where we need to verify ownership of our domain. If you're working with a web developer, please follow this option and pop in your domain name here, hit continue, and just follow to the bit where it says verify your domain. There'll be a string of code. Your web developer will know what to do with it. I know some of you are working solo, so we can still verify our website, not all versions of our website, but we'll use the most popular, which should be your HTTPS. So that means you've got an SSL certificate with your hosting, and that's the secure version of your website, which should be the most popular version of your website. We'll put the domain name in there, and then hit continue until it prompts you to verify by Google Analytics. And now I'm going to pop over to Google Analytics to show you how to do that, just to make it a little bit easier for you. So if we go into admin here, and we navigate down to product linking, and then we go to all products. And then scroll down, it's right at the bottom of the page, and we hit link search console. And then up here, we select the ad. And then down here, we look for the your domain name. Most of you probably will only have one, and it says here, this site is not linked to any web property. So then we hit save, and we press OK, and then we go add site to Google Search Console. And then it brings us to Google Search Console. Now, there's one more essential setup, which is to add our Google sitemap. So a sitemap is generated by your website. If you're using WordPress, you'll have an SEO plugin. This will either be Yoast or Rank Math, and you can obtain your sitemap from both those plugins. And all the and also if you're using Wix or Squarespace, again, you can get them from within the actual website. So once you've got your sitemap, you copy it and paste it in here and hit submit, and then you should see this, and you get a success. What the sitemap does, it just gives broader instructions to the Google bots when they're scanning your website. It helps them get a greater understanding of what your website is about, what keywords are on your web pages. It also helps to identify any issues that you might, any technical issues that you might help with your website. If you need help with finding out how to identify your sitemap within your specific website, so Yoast, Rank Math, Wix, and Squarespace all have good support pages on this, and they can just show you where to navigate to. Okay, so this is the interface of Google Search Console, and the section or report that I use the most is the performance report. The terms, it's not as it is not as overwhelming as Google Analytics. We've just got these terms up here that we need to familiarize ourselves with. So we've got total clicks. So it's literally, as it says, it's the total number of clicks to your website over this period here. So this is the last 3 months. Total impressions, the number of times that your website has appeared in search results. The average click-through rate. So at the moment, we're looking at the average click-through rate for this entire site, but we can drill down to the average click-through rate per page. And you could just turn these on and off if you don't want to see this particular data point. And then we've got the average position as well. Not so useful for an entire website, but very useful for a web page. If you'd like to change the date range, we can, they give us 16 months of data there that we can look at. You can have custom fields. You can also do a comparison. So, and again, this is useful if you've been working on your website and you want to see how it's tracking with the period before, you just select which one or do a custom one and you hit apply. So it's super useful. Okay, I'm going to crank up all these and we'll come down here. Now, this is really the most valuable part. It's telling us what keywords are driving traffic to our website. So this is valuable because if we've got keywords driving traffic to our website, this means we don't have to pay Google for advertising. We don't have to pay Facebook for advertising. We can, so we invest in optimizing our website for search so that we're getting this extra and this free traffic. So it's really useful. Most of you, your most popular query, or think of query equals keyword, your most popular one is going to be your brand name, as it is in this example here. So we're looking at clicks, impressions, click-through rate, and position. But what we want non-branded keywords. And we can increase our page, our rows here, and we can take a look at what is working. So what I'm looking for opportunities here, I'm looking for a keyword that has a low click but high impressions, and looking at where it might sit in Google as well. So here we've got, that's quite a high number of impressions, 448, with a click-through rate of 3.1%. That's telling me I could do a little bit of work on that keyword, where it's optimized in the website to increase the clicks, and then ultimately this is going to increase this business's revenue. So that's what I do. I trawl through here looking for opportunities to enhance the SEO potential of keywords and indeed pages. So we can have a look at our pages here. We can see what pages have the most clicks, what pages have the most impressions. So this one, it has an awful lot of impressions and only a 2% click-through rate. So, and it's not ranking very well at all. So I would like to have a closer look at that page. So what I can do is I copy the page, and then you can add a filter. So I'm going to filter by page, and I'll paste it in there, hit apply. And now we're just seeing the data from that particular page. And if we come down here to queries, it tells me all the keywords that page is ranking for, or potentially could rank for. So if I come down to the zeros, I'm seeing, right, basketball systems. It could I know that Google thinks it could potentially rank for this keyword, but look where it's sitting. It's sitting at 63. So no one's ever going to go back. So that means I can go through and I can optimize this page for basketball systems as well. So that gives you some really invaluable information that you can implement in your SEO strategy. Right, okay. And then we come to our Google Analytics. So we've connected the Google Search Console to our Google Analytics account. So I just wanted to show you where to navigate to find this information. If you just wanted to get a quick snapshot and you're in Google Analytics, you'll remember our acquisition report, come down to Search Console, and you can look at your landing pages. So landing pages are your someone's first entry point into your website. And so here you've got both the Google Search Console data and that Google Analytics important data like our bounce rate and that sort of thing. And the other important section is queries. So there we've got our keywords sitting in there, so we can easily see what keywords pages are ranking for. Okay, so some homework for you. Number one, set up your Google Search Console. So either work with your web developer or have a go at setting it up yourself. And then once you're set up, navigate to the performance part of the website and familiarize your, performance section of Google Search Console, and just familiarize yourself with what keywords are there. Are there any new ones that you didn't think that you would rank for? And try and identify an opportunity there to enhance the performance of your website. So again, are there these new keywords, or are there pages that are not performing well and that you think you could improve the performance? Okay, so that brings us to the end of our Teach session today. And now it is over to you, and we'll start digging into some of your questions.